well, the oil companies, they were happy to withdraw from deciding the price of oil. They were as the buffer element between the producers and the consumers. And after the October war, and they felt that the heat is too much, they decided to withdraw. They even refused to negotiate with the oil producers about the price of oil. However, a high price of oil is very good for the oil companies. They make a real handsome profit. And this is what happened. And they used that huge profit in investments to explore and develop alternative sources of supply.
And the transfer of power between the majors and OPEC was to completely change the rules under which the industry operated.
Tant que c'était les mêmes groupes qui géraient l'amont et l'essentiel de l'aval, avec un système de prix relativement stable, le commerce se faisait sur la base de contrats essentiellement moyen-long terme, avec des prix qui étaient les prix officiels des sociétés. C'était la base des contrats. À partir du moment où l'OPEC a pris le contrôle, première conséquence, les sociétés ne contrôlant plus l'ensemble de la chaîne vont se mettre à avoir une bien moins bonne visibilité de leurs sources d'approvisionnement et donc s'approvisionner à beaucoup plus court terme.
Uncertainties, due to the disappearance of an acknowledged oil pricing system, favored the emergence of a free market where oil was exchanged on a day-to-day basis. The new market was controlled by traders and was characterized by considerable price fluctuations. In some instances, the price of a single cargo of oil, its owners, or even its destination were known to change several times during a single trip. The oil crisis fueled both a social and economic crisis throughout the industrialized world. Unemployment, bankruptcy, liquidation and stagflation were things that the richer countries had readily forgotten since the post-war years, but now they were back. However, the seeds of something positive were to grow from the situation too. For the first time, people were becoming aware of the threat of exhaustion of fossil fuels such as oil and gas, and starting to consider the environment. The governments of some European countries paid heed. In France, this took the form of the Chasse aux Gaspilles, or Hunting Down Wasters campaign.
En France, on n'a pas de pétrole, mais on a des idées.
Quand vous restez en deuxième ou en troisième à haut régime, voici ce qui se passe. En passant tout de suite en quatrième ou en cinquième, vous allez aussi vite en consommant moins et sans fatiguer votre moteur. Passez en quatrième ou en cinquième et économisez du carburant.
Vous aussi, chassez le gaspille.
Ne jetez pas vos kilowattheures par les fenêtres. Moi? Oui, au lieu de faire votre lessive pour 3 fois rien,
encore
remplissez votre appareil. Vous ferez des économies.
Et pourtant, c'est si simple d'économiser. Accélérer doucement, maintenir une vitesse constante, passer les vitesses en souplesse et éviter les freinages brutaux. Les économies d'énergie, pensez-y.
Additionally, the crisis was to stimulate research into greater efficiency within the industry.
The idea that price could be cut if more and better technology could be found to find and produce oil. Two of the results of this movement into greater investment in technology were 3D seismic and 4D seismic, new techniques using high-powered computers, which lets explorers literally see under the surface of the Earth, and in a way that was never possible before predict with much greater accuracy what they're going to find when they drill. The other is incredible advances in drilling technology, which allows companies to drill numerous holes from a single site, to drill at a right angle deep into the earth, things that were not seen to be possible 30, 40 years ago, things that became possible in the 1970s and 1980s.
Ça a permis d'aller exploiter des pétroles plus chers. La mer du Nord n'aurait probablement pas pu être développée avec les anciens prix. On peut même dire que ça aurait été impossible. La même chose pour l'Alaska, donc ça a permis d'exploiter de nouvelles ressources. Ça a ouvert la porte à l'exploitation de ce qu'on appelait à l'époque les pétroles non conventionnels, les offshore profonds, les bruts ultra lourds. Et également, ça a permis de lancer des grands développements dans d'autres énergies, en particulier le nucléaire.
Until the 1960s, North Sea oil fields were not a financially viable option. They were difficult to exploit as they lay in deep waters with unfavorable weather conditions. However, the oil crisis was to allow the majors to invest considerable quantities of money into researching this area. The case of Frigg, a giant gas field between Norway and Scotland, was a notable example of what could be accomplished. Figures alone can best describe what was needed to make the gas field possible, with its artificial archipelago of 5 half-submarine platforms rising 30 meters above the sea. It took 3 years to build the equivalent of a town for 200,000 people. It cost the same as 10 modern nuclear plants. It required 450,000 tons of concrete and 50,000 tons of specialized steel, and it was believed to be 7 times heavier than the Eiffel Tower. Technical advancements in deep offshore drilling helped multiply North Sea production 5-fold between 1974 and 1978. This led to a decrease in Europe's dependency upon OPEC. The United States again turned its attention to exploration, but now in some of the more difficult regions, such as the northernmost part of Alaska. They had started prospecting this region after World War II to meet the demand of the US Navy. But although they had made promising discoveries, they gave up, as the weather conditions were simply too harsh. They resumed at the start of the 1970s, but the problem of transporting oil through a mountain region with extreme temperatures and frequent earthquakes was yet to be solved. The solution came in the shape of the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline, a gigantic 1,270-kilometer-long tube that ran across Alaska from the oil field of Prudhoe Bay in the north to the ice-free port of Valdez in the south. And, to add to their problems, the pipeline had to be positioned 3 meters above the ground so as not to disturb the yearly migration of Alaskan moose and caribou. The results speak for themselves. For the past 30 years, North Alaska has been the main US oil region responsible for 25% of national production. Nevertheless, this success was scarcely enough to reduce the US oil bill or to ease concerns about the longevity of oil. New research was carried out to reduce dependence on oil, a new search for renewable, non-polluting forms of energy. The first wind farms appeared. Solar power offered a new concept in domestic energy. But despite high hopes, these forms of energy remained largely experimental.